powerful typhoon made landfall in eastern China on Monday after ripping into Taiwan, where it had flooded the southern part of the island, crippled transportation and shut off power as thousands of residents fled mountainous areas prone to landslides. Typhoon Fanapi was the first major storm to strike the island this year and the 11th typhoon to hit China. It landed in Fujian province, China early in the morning, according to the flood control headquarters, after crossing Taiwan on Sunday with peak winds of 102 miles per hour. Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau said as much as 44 inches of rain had been dumped in southern Taiwan by early Monday, with more to come. Taiwan's China Airlines suspended all international departures from Kaohsiung. All of Taiwan's domestic air and rail services were halted. In eastern China, the Fujian Provincial Water Resources Department said 186,700 people have been evacuated. Authorities in the province evacuated about 150,000 fishing crew and recalled 55,000 boats to shore. Thousands of armed troops patrolled the deserted streets of Srinagar and other major towns in Indian-controlled Kashmir on Monday and enforced a curfew for the 8th day.
3 men hurt during street battles with government forces last week died in hospitals in Srinagar on Sunday, a police officer said on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to talk to the media. A young woman also died in the latest round of violence. Meanwhile, a delegation of Indian lawmakers seeking to defuse months of deadly civil unrest in Kashmir arrived in the Himalayan region on Monday, a day after 4 more anti-India protesters died after being hurt during increasingly violent demonstrations. Lawmakers from all major Indian national parties were expected to meet Kashmiri leaders in Srinagar and find ways to address long-standing demands for self-rule or a merger with predominantly Muslim Pakistan. But it was unclear how useful the delegation's mission would be after Kashmiri separatists said they would not meet the lawmakers and dismissed the trip as a public relations stunt by the Indian government. Human rights group Amnesty International has urged Indian authorities to investigate the killings and order government forces to stop the use of lethal force against demonstrators. On Monday, Mirwais Umar Farooq, a top separatist leader, described the Indian lawmakers' visit as a facade, a joke. Since 1989, a violent separatist insurgency and an ensuing crackdown by Indian forces have killed an estimated 68,000 people, mostly civilians in Kashmir.
Afghanistan's Independent Election Commission (IEC) continued counting votes on Monday as its Kabul telecenter from Saturday's controversial parliamentary election. The election has been marred by accusations of vote tampering and fraud.
While the first vote counts are due to be made public in a few days' time, full preliminary results are not expected until early October, and then there will be weeks of fraud investigations before winners are officially announced for the 249 parliamentary seats, which were contested by about 2,500 candidates. The Election Commission has said it hopes to release final results by the end of October. But there are likely to be a host of fraud complaints in each province, which could drag the process beyond the target date. The resolution of last year's vote took months. The main Afghan election observer group has said it has serious concerns about the legitimacy of this weekend's parliamentary vote because of reported fraud, even as President Hamid Karzai commended the balloting as a solid success. The conflicting statements underscored the difficulty of determining the credibility of the vote, which was hit by militant attacks that hurt the turnout. Afghan officials started gathering and tallying results on Sunday. The country's international backers praised those who voted on Saturday despite bomb and rocket attacks and voiced their hopes for a democratic result. A repeat of the pervasive fraud that tainted a presidential election a year ago would only erode further the standing of the administration of President Hamid Karzai, both at home and abroad, as it struggles against a Taliban insurgency.
Sri Lanka's former army chief and opposition leader Sarath Fonseca rejects his conviction at a court-martial and says he would fight against a proposed 3-year jail term. In a statement released through his Democratic National Alliance DNA party, Fonseca said he did not accept Friday's verdict in a court-martial, which sentenced him guilty of corruption in defense procurement deals. DNA spokesman Anura Kumara Dissanayake said the party rejected the court-martial process as seriously flawed and would make a formal appeal to the Civilian Court of Appeal as a matter of routine. The military tribunal recommended that Fonseca be jailed for 3 years, a decision that is widely expected to be ratified by President Mahinda Rajapakse on his return from New York later this month. Fonseca, who is 59 years old, became a national hero after leading the military to victory over ethnic Tamil separatists in May last year, fell out with Rajapakse and unsuccessfully tried to unseat him in January polls. Chile's president on Sunday said his government was doing all within its power to rescue the 33 miners trapped underground for 47 days and counting, but wouldn't venture a guess as to when they would be pulled out.
Sebastian Pineda spoke as a huge oil industry drill began carving a third escape tunnel that could potentially provide the first way to extricate the men through a half-mile of solid rock. Pineda also had a video chat with the miners during which he held Esperanza, Spanish for hope. The baby girl was born on 14 September to the wife of a trapped miner. The latest drill, a mammoth 150-foot tall structure, can pound through 60 to 9 feet of rock a day towards a point nearly 2,000 feet below the surface, not far from the refuge where the men have been staying. And while the other machines must first bore narrower holes and gradually expand their diameter, the Rig 24 can curve a 28-inch wide shaft just wide enough to pull a man through in a single pass. Once this planned sea machine reaches the miners, the rescuers will fortify the wall of the tunnel with iron tubing 23.5 inches in diameter in 72-foot sections to prevent it from collapsing around the miners as they are pulled to the surface. So if all goes well and there are no delays, this largest drill could enable the miners to begin their escape on 18th October. The government has refused to estimate the cost of the rescue, but the drilling alone will cost nearly $5 million, meaning the overall bill could reach $10 million or more before the miners see sunlight. Chile's largest mining companies are flush with cash, apply modern safety standards, and have access to the world's best technology to extract the minerals that provide about 40% of the government's revenue. But these men toiled in the poorly financed mine already proven to be unsafe, precisely because the risks meant earning slightly better wages, netting up to $19,000 a year.
And in business, Bank of Maldives reports a profit of 10.36 million Maldivian rupiah in the second quarter of this year. This is less than the 0.5 million rupiah acquired during the first quarter of this year. At the end of the second quarter, the bank's total earnings are 30.26 million rupiah.
Bank of Maldives says that they obtained 10.36 million rupiah as profit of the second quarter. When the second quarter came to an end, they earned total of 30.26 million rupiah. Bank of Maldives says when compared to the first quarter, the profit obtained in the second quarter has been reduced to 0.5 million rupiah. In the year 2009, bank made a profit of 49.9 million rupiah. The lowest rate a share was sold in the Maldives Stock Exchange is 127 rupiah in this quarter, and 136 is the highest rate at which a share was sold. The market capitalization of the bank is more than 68 billion rupiah in the second quarter. When compared to the last year's profit, 81% is less than the profit obtained in the year 2008. Face price of BML share is 50 rupiah and profit of 9.29 lari per share was made last year. The dividend for the year 2008 was 9 rupiah. The board of directors decided not to distribute the profit for the year 2009.
Yale Maldives of the Yellow Pages signs an agreement with the Maldives National Chamber of Commerce and Industries to produce the official business directory of MNCCI. Director of Zebra Cross Muhammad Ibrahim Didi signed on behalf of Yellow Pages, while Vice President of MNCCI Fatma Suad signed on behalf of MNCCI. Giving details about the agreement, MNCCI said they believe that the Yellow Pages is an able company. Under this agreement, all information about MNCCI will be available on the Yale directory. Zebra Cross will also update the database of all Maldivian companies under this agreement. Information on the Yale directory will be available online and on mobile phones in addition to the published book. In the The Diragudivhi League VB coach Ken Wanley says securing the championship title does not give the team an excuse to slack off in the upcoming matches. Wanley said their aim is to win the next 2 matches. Speaking at a press conference at FAM, Wanley assured supporters that VB always goes on the field with a winning spirit. New Radiant coach Mohammad Shiaz Mohan says the team has seen relative improvement. When the 2 teams face tonight, VB has secured the championship title with 49 points, while New Radiant lags 2 paces behind with 35 points. Lionel Messi will miss Barcelona's next 2 La Liga matches and may be out for longer after spraining his ankle at Sunday's 2-1 win at Atletico Madrid. Barca said on their website that tests confirmed ligament damage to Argentine forward's right ankle, and he will be unavailable for the home game against Sporting Gijón on Wednesday and Saturday's trip to Athletic Bilbao. Messi was taken off on a stretcher in added time at the Calderón after he was felled by a bad tackle from Czech defender Thomas Ujfalusi was shown a straight red for the challenge, which has revived debate in Spain about whether players like Messi and Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo need special protection from referees. Barca says Messi's participation in Barca's Champions League match at Rubin Kazan on September 29 will depend on his recovery. The test carried out on Monday also confirmed that there was no damage to the bone. Chelsea crushed Blackpool 4-0 to open up a 4-point lead at the top of the Premier League on Sunday. Chelsea's 5th consecutive win was settled in the opening 45 minutes with Solomon Kalou, Didier Drogba and Florent Malouda's double, putting Carlo Ancelotti's rampant Blues 4-0 up at the break. The reigning champions have now rattled in a remarkable 21 goals in only 5 games and could have had a 5th had there not been denied a certain penalty in injury time after a foul on Drogba. In the day's other match, Manchester City moved up to 4th with a 2-0 victory away at Wigan. Skipper Carlos Tevez and Yaya Toure got the goals at a rain-swept DW Stadium as City registered their 2nd win of the campaign. City boss Roberto Mancini said his summer decision to hand the captaincy to Tevez was reaping dividends after watching the Argentine score before setting up Toure's first goal in the English football.